Okay, calling to order the meeting of the Bakersfield City School District Board of Education. We'll start with roll call. Mike Eggert.
Present.
CCB.
Here.
Brooke Maliol.
Here.
Laura Guerrero Salgado.
Present.
And I am here as well, having no public comments at the moment. We'll adjourn to closed session. Do I have a motion?
This is Chris, so moved.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All righty, adjourned. Closed session. Alrighty, reconvening to open session. Meeting of the Bakersfield City School District Board of Education. We're going to start with the pledge to the flag tonight. Dr. Fullenwider, would you please?
Sign them up, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, please stand. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be
Would
seated.
you like to come and take a photo?
I would like to have a photo.
Oh, we really are, bro.
We're so proud of you. You did such a good job. You were awesome. Here. Oh my gosh, I just bought a check.
Appreciate it.
Laura, you have right. Some more balance. Oh, okay. Plus you look really cute.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Alrighty, we will move straight ahead to item number 3, report of the closed session action. Quite a few things here. So during its recently concluded closed session, the board voted to approve a settlement agreement and general release which resolves a dispute regarding salary schedule payments for the skilled trades unit. The vote was unanimous. Under the terms of agreement, LIUNA and the district agree to clarifying language regarding initial salary schedule placement and for advancement on the salary schedule. The parties further agree on a resolution for handling the underpayment of some unit members and an overpayment of other unit members. So that is our report of closed session. Moving on to item number 4, which is an approval to the amendment to the superintendent contract. So I'm going to provide some context first. The board will vote to approve the amended superintendent's employment agreement, which states that the term of agreement shall expire August 31, 2025. The amendment states that Mr. Lukey shall serve as superintendent until June 30th, 2025, and compensation, benefits, stipends, and vacation shall remain in effect until August 31, 2025, end of that contract. So it is recommended that the amendment to the superintendent contract be approved.
I'll move to approve.
Thank you, Brooke. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on that item? We're good to go. Cool. So we'll do a vote. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All of those opposed? Abstentions? We're good? All righty then. Now, in light of this amendment to the superintendent's contract, Assistant Superintendent Laura Orozco will be serving as the acting superintendent through July 7th, at which time we will hold a special board meeting to appoint an interim superintendent. We will move on now to item C5, which are our public comments. There are quite a lot of them, and we will get through all of them. Cool. So, to our visitors, members of the public may request that items be placed on the agenda of any regular board meeting. The items must be directly related to school district business. Items placed on the agenda by the public will be for information and discussion so that the board may be advised of the views of the community. Individuals may address the Board of Education by completing the form provided at the door and submitting it to the administrative assistant prior to the start of the meeting. In order to run an efficient meeting, the board is not able to take questions or comments from the floor. The total time allotted for an individual to speak on an item shall not exceed 3 minutes and shall not exceed 15 minutes on any one subject. In order to ensure that non-English speakers receive the same opportunity to directly address the board, any member of the public who utilizes a translator shall be provided twice the allotted time to address the board. And we do have those comments. Up first is going to be Linda Eads.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm sure most of you know me by now. I'm Linda Eads, and I'm here to speak on behalf of, I thought I was speaking really loud. The assistant manager at the level 3, the nutrition department. Ms. Christine Conejo, we really want to truly let you know that we truly appreciate your respect on the results of the MOU that was voted down last Friday in regards to the schedule change for the next school year of the nutrition department requested. It really shows your understanding and of our collective voice of CSEA. Your recognition reinforces mutual respect and shares responsibility with a common goal to better serve our kids. We look forward to a successful new year, and we can assure you that this result is the best outcome for the flow and the effectiveness of our kitchens. And thank you, all of you board members that have ding, 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 emails and text messages and to hear us out. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Petra Villanueva. After that will be Eric Arias. After that will be Manny.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Petra Villanueva.
Good evening, my name is Petra Villanueva.
Vengo de la escuela Mount Vernon.
I come from Mount Vernon Elementary.
Y yo vengo a pedir a que en esta noche ustedes aprueben
I come to request that tonight you approve
nuestros presupuestos,
our budgets
el LCAP
in the LCAP
y las pólizas,
and the policies,
principalmente en el área que benefician a nuestros estudiantes y a los padres,
primarily in the area that benefits our students and the parents,
porque hemos visto que necesitamos más apoyo en esas áreas.
because we've noticed we need more support in those areas.
Y sabemos que van a haber muchos recortes,
We know there will be many shortcuts,
pero principalmente no queremos que ustedes se enfoquen en esas áreas de los padres y los estudiantes,
but I want you to not focus on the areas of the parents and the students,
porque nosotros queremos continuar con el retrato de un estudiante graduado.
we would like to continue with the portrait of a graduate.
He estado hablando con diferentes padres de otras escuelas
I've spoken to parents from other schools,
y esperamos que ustedes hagan el trabajo que nosotros los votantes
and we hope you will do the work that we as voters
necesitamos
need
para que nuestros estudiantes sean los mejores de este distrito
so that our students could be the best in the district,
y dejemos de ser el patito feo de todo Bakersfield.
and we stop being the ugly duckling of all Bakersfield.
Nuestras escuelas tienen que salir de School Improvement,
Our schools have to exit school improvement,
pero si los presupuestos,
but if the budgets,
las bylaws
the bylaws,
y otras cosas no son bien implementadas para nuestras escuelas,
and other things are not well implemented for our schools,
nuestros estudiantes no van a tener éxito
our students will not be successful.
y vamos a tener que venir con ustedes
And we will have to come to you
a hacerles un recordatorio
to give you a reminder
que ustedes tienen que trabajar en beneficio de nosotros los votantes,
that you have to work in benefit of us, the voters,
de nuestros hijos
of our children,
y de todo el personal que funciona dentro de las escuelas.
and all the personnel staff that works within the schools.
Así es que por favor pongan mucha atención en lo que van a hacer sus decisiones,
So please pay a lot of attention into what your decisions will cause.
porque no queremos venir a hacerles un mal tiempo a ustedes principalmente.
We don't want to come and give you a hard time.
Así es que espero que piensen bien lo que van a hacer,
I hope you think well on what you will be doing,
porque aunque vea que somos muy poquitos padres, créanme que estamos despertando.
because even though it seems like we're a few parents, believe me, we're awakening,
E incluso los votantes
including the voters,
están dispuestos,
are willing.
si ustedes no hacen bien su trabajo,
If you do not do your job well,
podemos empezar con un recall en
We could
contra de
start
ustedes.
a recall against you.
Así es que, por favor,
Therefore, please
hagan su trabajo
do your job
y no nos crean que somos tontos porque ya despertamos.
and don't think we are done because we're waking up.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Eric Arias.
Good evening, members of the board, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. My name is Eric Arias. I'm the proud president and CEO for United Way of Central Eastern California. Tonight, I'm here to speak on behalf of our United Way team. On item 39, I would like to share that I'm joined by several members of our team. If you could please stand up, we have our board chair, Mr. Joey Garcia, and also several members of our education team, our marketing team, who actually provide the services that are up for discussion today. For the past 5 years, we've actually really enjoyed the partnership with BCSD to be able to provide what we call family life education, which is required and mandated by the state of California through the California Healthy Youth Act, what we call CHIA. And so for the past 5 years, we've been able to proudly provide that curriculum on BCSD campuses. We've actually expanded our impact to 4 other school districts throughout the entire county of Kern. And we're really proud of the work that we do every single day. This team right here works to make sure that they are up to date when it comes to the language, the research that is provided to the students in the classroom, and making sure that we are speaking a language that is understood and makes the students feel comfortable when also receiving that education. And so I just want to share that we have our team here. We're really proud of the work that we do. We're grateful for the partnership, and we're hopeful that you all are able to approve staff's recommendation so that we can continue this partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Manuel Carizales.
Well, good afternoon. I'm really honored to be here with fellow brothers here. And I want to just read something real quick about the governance protocols for the board. Number 1, children's interests come first. The board, through their voting authority and leadership, will represent the needs and interests of all children in the district. You know, one of the things that I want to share real quick is why I'm here. You know, I've been here February, May, and when I saw item 15 on this is why. On the collective decision-making process, the senior leadership team will support decisions made by the board and or the administration team once the decision has been made. Board members will support decision made by the majority. And the reason why I'm saying this is because one of the things we want to ask is that we're requesting the district and the board holds a town hall meeting so the public, parents, and students are able to give input on what we are expecting from the new superintendent of BCSD. One of the things, that reason why I'm here too, is because I'm an advocate from 1 to 15, the items I just shared with you. I don't know if you know that there was another shooting this weekend. Young man was killed, BCSD student. I want you to know that. And who do you think they asked to do the funeral, speak at the vigil tomorrow? Ma. And I told you guys this back in February and May. And what I'm saying is that if working together in trying to curb the violence, now tomorrow evening, there's going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of students from BCSD at this vigil. And they're going to be crying, holding candles, and they're going to want something that I can't do in the school. Let's pray. Because see, it's prayer that changes the heart of a person. It's prayer. And I want you guys to know this, and I said I was going to tell you guys this. I just want you to know I'm praying for you guys. I really am. Because right now our streets, they're in chaos. As much as I'm getting calls from BPD and law enforcement and trying to intervene and curb the violence, what I'm saying is that we need to work together. And we need to come up with a strategy, because I still haven't heard from you guys yet on what we're going to do. All 5 of you voted unanimously, and I still haven't heard nothing. But I will say Mark did the best job for the school district. He did the best job.
Thank you. Up next. Up next is Reverend Oscar Anthony. Following him will be Reverend Wesley Crawford Sr.
To the board president, this tremendous staff. I am Reverend Oscar Anthony, pastor of St. Peter RCCM here in Bakersfield. I'm a product of Bakersfield City School District. Thankful to parents who fosters education and discipline. I was able to get a doctorate degree in leadership. I'm presently president of the Kern Ministers Conference of Kern County, and I presently sit on the Closing the Achievement Gap for the Bakersfield City School District, of which I'm a proud member along with other community leaders and qualified retired educators. This committee was always historical advocates of students who remain as the bottom of the bottom achievers. And we all know that that can be changed. As president of MCKC and a partner with Bakersfield City School District, we serve with the collaborative with the NAACP and the Southern Christian Leadership Conference to express our extreme disappointment of the resignation of Mr. Mark Luque. Who was one of the 2 former superintendents who was committed to eliminating the historical negative consequences that perpetuated the known phenomena of school to prison pipeline. Also, who was one who's homegrown in this community, not only a student, a teacher, but also who aspired to be this board superintendent. He was trained, educated, skilled, and had a heart for the entire community. We're concerned whether Bakersfield School District is still recognizing, appreciating, and is committed to the historical commitment by past board members.
I'm sorry to interrupt. You're out of time. If you could wrap up your last thoughts.
All right. Someone else want to give me your 3 minutes? All right, I'll take their 3 minutes.
Your last thoughts. Thank you.
Say it again now.
If you could share your last thoughts, of course.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We want to find out whether this board is still committed to the historical efforts of Irma Carson, Pete Parra, Dr. Fred Ames, Reverend Ralph Anthony, Pam Bauer, Lily Tafoya, who passed the CTAG policy and program, as well as people like Doc Irving and Paul Cato, who were there to close that achievement gap. We are thankful for working with capable administrators like Dr. Tim Fullenwider and Mr. Lewis Neal, who demonstrated commitment to close this gap. In my closing, we would like to continue our partnership with the Bakersfield City School District and request some participation in your selection of your future administrator. And we would like some time in the future to sit down, maybe an agenda item, to hear from each board member, your ideas, your commitment to closing the achievement gap of all students, and in particular, the lowest of the lowest, the African American males. Again, thank you for allowing me to extend my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Reverend Wesley Crawford, Sr.
I too want to start off with, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for each and every member of the board. I'm praying that God give you the guidance and understanding. What I want to talk about tonight is Mark Lukey. Mark Lukey was an excellent superintendent. And when I say excellent, I'm telling you from a parent that had a child that was disabled. He was able to start programs. He was able to sit down with us day or night, Saturdays, Sundays. He just sat with us. And so we're concerned about the next superintendent. Will this superintendent have the same tenacity for special education students? My son was a bona fide Bakersfield City School District. When Mark was here, we were given a lot of things. We sat down, we worked it out. He's a community person. We're concerned about the next person being a community person. And let me say this here. You forgot that 2026 is election year. So we're looking forward to 2026. And to be honest with you, I'm looking forward for a great deal. I've written you a letter. I put my concerns in writing. I have not heard back from the board. So to the board president, I sent it to you, and I'm asking you now, when will you send me back an answer to the letter that I sent you?
We're not allowed to take questions from the floor, so I want to give you your time. I'll address it later.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, we need a superintendent that's for all the students. And so I hate to see Mark Lukey go. You just don't know. You accuse him of a whole bunch of things. He didn't do those things. And so I'm asking you, in your whatever you do, reconsider that. Understand the man and the community. And with that, I close and say that I hope God blesses each and every one of y'all. I hope he touches y'all heart, and I hope the Holy Spirit hits y'all so you understand what God can do for you, in you, and around you. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Pam Bauer. After Pam Bauer, we will have Jerry Shipman.
Good. Thank you. Good evening. I was a little disappointed when I looked at the board pack last night that I did not see what the actual amendment to the superintendent's contract was, because I would have thought that would have had to have been posted with the 72-hour requirement. But that's a moot point right now. And since there was no agendized item about hiring an interim, I'm glad to hear that you have one lined up. And I'll be here July 7th to check the person out. There's plenty of precedent in the history of BCSD about getting public input before hiring a new superintendent. So looking to the future, that would be totally appropriate for the board to have a few meetings to make that available and hear what the public wants to see in the new superintendent. And then regarding the budget, today is the most important, to me, meeting of the year. Because when you're adopting the budget, you're adopting how this district will function. And in this time of financial uncertainty on both the state and federal level, I appreciate the fact that, and I know it has a lot to do with Sherry and other people too, that we have more than we have more of a reserve than required. Because back in the '08 recession, the thing that carried this district through it without having to lay off any employees, without having a qualified budget from the county, was the fact that we had a healthy reserve. And that is extremely important now because, especially with the chaos at the federal level with budgeting, the district has 2 mandatory programs, that's special ed and English language learners. And I am confident there's going to be less funding in that, but you're still going to be required to provide the full service, which means that will have to come out of the general ed classroom. So what I am requesting of the board is when you're looking forward to the future, don't use one-time money for ongoing programs. Do not give anything that you don't know for sure that you can sustain. Because sustainability was my mantra when I was sitting on that side of the table, and also when I was negotiating for the teachers. So I don't want to see this school district have a qualified budget review from the county superintendent because it's not balanced out well. And I want to make sure that we are doing the best for the students and also for the employees. Because it's not fair to say, well, we can just lay off employees. I think we should always look forward to maintaining. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next is Jerry Shipman.
And I say God bless you also, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Jerry Shipman. I'm a minister at St. Peter Restoration Community Christian Ministries right there on East Brundage Lane. I'm retired from the Department of Corrections after 26 years, and then another 10 years driving Bakersfield City School District children around in a thing called the school bus.
God bless you for that.
Pam kind of got some of my thunder here. Thank you, Pam.
My pleasure.
I'm also in collaborative with so many here tonight. Stay Focused, NAACP, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Men with a Purpose, Kern County Ministers Council of Kern County, and a host of pastors and ministers. As a topic, I want to talk about the selection committee for the new superintendent as well as the interim. We wish and hope that you will all please consider and include people from our communities, specifically areas 3 and 5, in the selection committee, from the beginning to the final decision for both the interim superintendent and superintendent. This is vital, that we, the community, should have a stationary. That means permanent. That means something there, always, to say who is getting hired. Bakersfield City School District include in their budget also with this a budget for training those individuals on how to conduct themselves. Thank you.
Up next, Chris Lowe.
Hello. My name is Chris Lowe. My day job, I do marketing and community development for a credit union. I'm proud to say I'm part of Team BCSD through the Education Foundation. I serve on the board with Pam there. But today, I'm here representing the Bakersfield Museum of Art. And I'd like to talk about the 5th grade visual arts program contract that's on the consent agenda. For the past 9 years, the Bakersfield Museum of Art has proudly partnered with BCSD to provide a dedicated 5th grade visual arts program. The program is fully aligned with California's visual arts standards, ensuring that students receive structured, meaningful arts education. Lessons are integrated with other classroom subjects by their teachers, reinforcing broader academic content and enhancing student learning. All instruction is delivered by professional trained artists, bringing real-world experience and creative expertise directly to students in 117 classrooms across the district. This partnership ensures equitable access to high-quality arts education for all 5th grade students, and this program recently had an RFP issued for a new provider. We are concerned that the recent RFP process placed too much emphasis on cost rather than prioritizing educational quality and standards alignment. 50% of the weighting was towards cost, 20% towards quality. We respectfully request that the board pull the contract from the consent agenda and table the decision to allow for a thorough review of the scoring process and how evaluation criteria was weighed. And that's it. Thank you.
Up next, Maria Ornelas.
Good evening. My name is Maria Ornelas. I'm the education coordinator at the Bakersfield Museum of Art. I'm going to follow up about our program that we've partnered with BCSD for the last 9 years. I started as an art instructor with the museum and have participated in the program for the last 7 years. So I was firsthand in the classroom, in the 5th grade classroom, and saw the impact that we've had. And I'm leading our 11 art instructors that have done it under me for the last 3 years. And it's really important that you guys understand that the quality and the experience that we have in this program has an immense impact. And the program doesn't just mean a lot to me, but as we are all here today, and you guys are here tonight, the children's is what comes first. And I want to make sure that the person that you choose, the vendor that you choose, is taking that in mind. And going back and seeing the scoring rubric, it is a little bit concerning because we've had so much experience and we've had such a strong and stable and successful program because of our partnership. So I just want to make sure that you guys check the thank you notes from the students that we had in the past. And there's also a few emails from your 5th grade teachers that have reached out, and we've connected with them because that partnership is really important. We're not doing this alone. We're doing this with you guys. And I want to make sure that you guys know how important it is for me to continue this. But I know you guys will make the best decision for this contract moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Colleen Macaulay.
Hi, what we did not, hi, I'm Colleen Macaulay, the interim executive director of the Bakersfield Museum of Art. This is day 14. And we have lots of other art, but we kind of close that down in an easy packet for you to review and to see some of the heartwarming comments from the students. It almost makes you cry, the importance of art. I'm coming here not only as an advocate and representative of the Museum of Art, but just an advocate for children. I have 30 years experience in this community speaking up on behalf of children. And for many, I know they needed art for their pathway forward, for dealing with stress, for dealing with the complexities of the family situations they come from. And as Maria stated, this Art Reach program is what we call it. It's a partnership that we created with you and started in fledgling years, and we have molded and grown that program to address standards-based visual curricula incorporating math, science, and history. We partner and are welcomed in now by those teachers in that space. And the comments from some of the educators with less than 24-hour notice is heartwarming. We named it Art Reach for 2 reasons. One, it's for arts, visual arts in your classrooms. And we provide a mastery of skills for the core curriculum standards that are required. but it's vital for their development. As I mentioned, sometimes their path forward comes through art. And at every student interaction, our trained art educators teach lessons beyond the visual arts and Common Core requirements. We teach them creativity, how to turn a doodle into an abstract painting, sketches into still life drawings, imaginary characters into comic book heroes. And the learning doesn't stop there. You know, we live in this very complicated world and very complicated community, and all the children need to know how to process their own stress. And this is a very safe environment with very favorable reports from our teacher partners about the technical skills these students learn in addition to the emotional flexibility we provide. I know my time is running out. It's in our estimate that in the 9 years we have served you in this project, we've reached over 30,000 fifth grade students. And we're very proud of it, very proud of it. As I said, I've only been with the organization 14 days, but I'm amazed at the power of art and how the board wants to support this work going forward, and we want to expand it, and we hope that you will look at that rubric and that we might have an additional conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Up next, Ariel Dyer.
Hello, my name is Ariel Dyer, and I am a Bakersfield College librarian, and I'm serving my second term on the Bakersfield Museum of Art board. And I really just want to say thanks for hearing me and my colleagues this evening. Arts education is a load-bearing wall of BMOA. Our educators, who at a minimum possess 3 years of experience as visual artists, led by the passionate and hardworking Education and Family Programs Coordinator, Maria Ornelas, continue to develop their craft as artists in their own right while sharing that skill with local youth in this program and others like it. Beyond just teaching the basics of art, our educators forge connections with classroom teachers that are seeing this work happen and learning and exchanging and incorporating that into their curriculum. And they spark a lifelong desire in students not just to create art, but to share those creations with their communities, which is really essential here in Bakersfield. As the only art museum in our county and a premier art institution in our own right, Bakersfield Museum of Art is uniquely suited to this work and this project, and we have proudly served as the implementing organization for this program for the past 9 years. I was disheartened when I saw the weighted scoring for this upcoming contract's RFP. As my colleague said, 50% weight was given to cost, whereas visual art standards and focus on hands-on engagement with qualified staff at 20% each don't even collectively match that. I worry about the message this sends to students of the program and their parents. Prioritizing financial costs so heavily over quality of instruction and commitment to the visual arts standards shortchanges BCSD students. They deserve the best quality arts education, and this current analysis does not give it to them. Tonight, we are asking that the board table this agenda item and reconsider that weight distribution and scoring. We believe that the intrinsic value of this program and our work in it merit a closer look. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Last up for this one is Juana Espinosa. Sorry. Iliana. Got it.
Okay. My name is Iliana Espinosa, and I am an educator here at Bakersfield City School District. Good evening to the board, and most importantly to our community members. It is always wonderful to see people participating and caring about the quality of our students' education. I'm privileged to work here, and I'm here on behalf of the art community, like my friends here, as an educator cultivating safe spaces for students to simply create that are rooted in community are foundational to my purpose being in the classroom. A dear friend of mine reached out to me and expressed their concern about the 5th grade art education program that the Bakersfield Museum of Art has graciously built from the ground up, those are her words, being awarded to another organization. While the other organization might be great at facilitating, they aren't our educators. I want you to think from a community perspective and from an artist perspective. The Bakersfield Museum of Art has done so much these past few years in building community for our young artists. They also have done so much in enriching our local community and making art more accessible to all. The fifth grade visual and art program is the fifth grade and visual art program is a gateway to the art community that is blooming in Bakersfield. Believe it or not, these fifth grade students will have that experience imprinted on them, and that experience will follow them through their education and lead to more doors opening, like the Artworks program, which is accessible to them in high school through the BMOA. I also can't stress the importance of networking as a young artist, and those of you who know artists can attest to the relationships that begin to build and form in high school and in college, and that these relationships are often rooted in community built around them. The BMOA also employs young educators, oftentimes who have graduated with a degree in arts. These young artists and educators oftentimes only have so many avenues in which they can pursue, and the museum is providing those opportunities for them. I hope you would consider and look further into not putting all your eggs in one basket out of convenience, and think about the quality of education our students will be getting. I really enjoyed working with them as a fifth grade teacher, and the impact of art in our students, even to just solve basic problem skills on a daily basis, like really does add value to their life. So thank you.
Thank you. Apologies for misreading. Thank you, Ileana. Marilyn Martinez is next.
Oh, I already started?
Welcome.
Oh, wait, no, don't start it yet.
We'll start it over.
Okay, yes. I'm taking a deep breath first, yes. I'll tell you guys when to start it, okay?
Perfect.
Start it, okay. My name is Marilyn Martinez. I'm from the Transportation Department, Bakersfield City School District. I'm here tonight to address two major concerns. One about student safety and others about how employees are being mistreated through undocumented, misleading policies. First, during summer school, employees were never told they would be dropped from their assignments if they missed more than 2 days of work. But when we asked for this in writing, no one in human resources or transportation provided documentation. Instead, we were threatened or ignored. I was told in person that if I missed one more day, I would be dropped. On top of that, HR and payroll told us we had to work a full 18 days first, or else we would not be paid for those 2 days we were supposedly allowed to miss. This was presented as a policy. But again, nothing was ever shown in writing. It was a fake policy, enforced unfairly without transparency. Those responsible, including Tammy Rowell, Director of Transportation at Christine Cornejo, and Aaron Johnson, Director of Human Resources, they failed to provide documents. When requested, misled employees and dropped people without proper notice. Second, there are serious safety concerns. On June 6, 2025, an official email from the Transportation Department clearly stated that buses transporting behavioral students must not leave without both BMA and bus monitor. But Tammy Rowell, multiple supervisors told drivers, including myself, that if we could leave without having both staff members, in some cases we were told to take another bus driver as a replacement for a trained BMA. This directly violates the district's own safety protocol and puts both students and drivers at risk, especially when transporting students with behavioral needs or those on the autism spectrum. Tonight, I respectfully ask the board to investigate these serious issues, ensure all district employees are written, transparent, and fairly enforced, protect the safety of students and staff, and hold accountable anyone in HR or transportation, including directors who has misused their position, lied about policies, or ignored safety requirements. Raise your hand if you're from the Transportation Department right here. Raise your hand if you were told you would be dropped for missing more than 2 days during summer school. Raise your hand if you were never given written documentation of that policy. Raise your hand if you were told you had to work 18 full days before 2 excused absences would be paid. Raise your hand if you asked for a written proof and no HR employee or supervisor provided it. Raise your hand if you were scared to speak up. Raise your hand if you were ever evaluated harshly without any prior verbal warning, written notice, or documentation by Tammy Rowell. Raise your hand if you feel your rights as an employee have been violated. Raise your hand if you are close to being dropped or know someone who has been dropped from the summer school. Now let's talk about safety. Raise your hand if you were told to drive without a BMA or a bus monitor while transporting students with special needs or behavioral needs. Raise your hand if you ever left the yard without a monitor or BMA because a supervisor told you to proceed.
If you could finish up your last thoughts, you're out of time, but please continue.
Yes. This is not a one-person story. This is a district-wide issue. The hands raised tonight prove the employees are being silenced, ignored, and punished unfairly while student safety is being compromised. Thank you.
Thank you. Alrighty, so that does it for our public comments this evening. We'll move on to the next item on our agenda. That is number 6, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. It is recommended those minutes be approved.
I move to approve. Oh, sorry. Ms. Malley, motion, I second.
Thank you, Brooke, for the motion and Laura for the second. Any discussion on it? We're good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to letter D, reports of district organizations. We'll start with Bakersfield Elementary Teachers Association Beta. Steve Comstock, president, I believe is absent. So we will move on to item number 2 in that section. Classified School Employees Association, CSEA, Chapter 48, Dinah Mae Jimenez, president. On her way, thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, Superintendent, members of the board. I would like to start with a positive note by extending a heartfelt thank you to the district for pulling the MOU schedule shift for Nutrition Assistant 3 from the board documents. This agreement marks a positive step forward in supporting our members and ultimately the students we serve. We are also hopeful that the upcoming changes in special education under the leadership of the new director, Brooke Smother-Streisig, will lead to positive outcomes for both students and staff. I would like to mention that we are continuing to experience issues in the transportation department due to failure to follow established policies and procedures. Dedicated employees who choose to work during the summer have lost their positions because they were given inaccurate information regarding absences. It is critical that we ensure accurate and consistent communication moving forward. Lastly, while the summer recess is typically a quieter time, it seems that more issues are surfacing, more than usual this year. I look forward to working collaboratively to resolve these matters and to continue strengthening our district. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 3, Labor's International Union of North America, LAUNA, Local 777, Bob Boyd, president, is not here. So, moving on to letter E, Board of Education. We will start with item number 1, which is the board member comments. Tonight we are starting with Brooke Malley-Alt.
I will be very brief tonight. I just wanted everyone to know I am listening to your comments. Again, I welcome all emails, all contact. I'm constantly listening to what the community's needs are. I understand this day and transition, this point in time is very stressful, but I do genuinely believe this is an opportunity for growth and also an opportunity to improve district culture. That's it for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. After Brooke is Mike Eggert.
Thank you. I would like to thank the people that made the comment regarding our next selection of our new superintendent. You know, we take this very seriously. We've had some brief discussion, and are putting together a timeline. And, you know, we look at this as a team, as to building our district. You know, Mr. Lukey did a great job, but we need to move forward now. And I just think this is a great opportunity, and we will take the opportunity with the stakeholders in this community to get input, to find out. And, you know, we can rest assure you that when we make this selection of superintendent, you know, for our community, it will certainly have the input of the whole town. And I think that's very important. You have a very diverse board that has different opinions on what we need, but collaboratively, we will come together with input to pick that person that will lead this district on and set a legacy. And we have that opportunity. I also want to thank those people from transportation that came and spoke and raised their hands. You know, we hear you. I hear you. And, you know, it's very important because the problem with transportation is we lose too many people for too many petty reasons of lack of transparency, lack of consistency, you know. And I think that's very important because transportation, bus drivers, bus monitors is an essential part of our function in this district, and I appreciate that. And I think that we need to see that attitude change. And I'm really hopeful for it, and I thank you for coming forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Laura Guerrero Salgado.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Last Wednesday we held our annual board retreat, and one of the topics on there was the board bylaws, protocols, and policy. We had important conversations on our responsibilities, and Chris Cruz-Boone and Mr. Fuentes acknowledged that we, the board, aren't following our identified protocols. But as we look forward to hiring our new superintendent, we have to be mindful that the quality of our governance is going to affect that person, the new superintendent. I will continue to communicate the importance on building the governance knowledge to be the most effective board possible. Therefore, I encourage the board to commit the time necessary to be the best and the best board possible. Moving forward, I will not try, but I will do my best to be a better board member. The next thing I want to talk about is the process for the superintendent. We did have a discussion about that during our board retreat, and well, as one of the 5 board trustees, I want to emphasize my feelings. And it is important that we include our parents, our community, and staff, and give them the opportunity to be a part of this process. Town hall meetings would be great. Everybody should be included. Everybody should be given that chance. You know, this process of identifying the new superintendent can be tricky. And we as a board need to remember that the superintendent works for the board, but us as the board, we work for the public. And The purpose of this district is to serve children. And we need to remember this, where the child comes first. We need to start making better decisions that are in the best interest of our children, not our own personal agenda. That's just my personal opinion. Ultimately, the goal of this district is to have successful students because these kids are our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. My turn is next. So I will also keep it very brief. Also will thank all of you for being here this evening. The amount of comments and the quality of comments has been very incredible. We've got a lot of work on our hands, so we're going to take that responsibility. Reverend Crawford, I will be in touch, absolutely. Beyond that, keep coming to our meetings. Thank you. Up next is CCB.
Yeah, it's really refreshing to have so many people so deeply invested in the work that we're doing, because we care a lot about it, but sometimes we have meetings where there's 2 people here. So it's nice to see all of you so invested in our kids. I first wanted to speak, you know, Ms. Martinez and the bus drivers, they drive buses in the heat with kids who sometimes cooperate and sometimes don't. And the commitment to our district to show up tonight and participate in the process is so deeply appreciated. Thank you to all of you for the work you do every day, and I hope that we can find a way to make things better for you, because we don't want you to leave. Mr. Anker said, please don't leave. We can't do the work of the district without the kids physically getting to the schools, and that role that you play, that piece. There's so many parents, especially with the rising cost of gas and people having to work more, that don't have any other way but you to get the kids to our schools where we can change their lives. So thank you for helping make that happen. Both of my kids recently started high school, and so they were both in 5th grade and part of the Bakersfield Museum of Art program. I live across the street from the Bakersfield Museum of Art, so it's a huge thing for my neighborhood and my community personally. My daughter loves to make ceramics. She's not great at it, but she has a lot of confidence. And that confidence came from exposure, and that exposure came from BCSD and the Bakersfield Museum of Art. So looking through these different displays for me was, when someone said, like, you want to cry, like, I did want to cry, because I felt like I was looking at my own kids' creations, and I really appreciated people coming and talking about, and not just the Bakersfield Museum of Art, but also local faith leaders talking about the importance of the district's role in having a relationship with the community. And I think, you know, one of the things that people forget, like, there are lots of people in my lives. I'm an educator, so, like, I give all of my students my cell number. And people that took my class 3 years ago have messaged me to ask, like, how do they find out who's going to be the new superintendent? I'm like, I don't know, so nobody knows. But people have questions, people have input, people have ideas. And one of our jobs as board members is both, you know, to make sure there are spaces like town halls for that to happen, but also to be ambassadors for the district and for the communities where we live. And so I encourage everyone not just to come to those meetings, but also, you know, show up and hold us accountable and have hard conversations with us. Because there are folks who've come and spoken at the podium that, like, have never called me or sent me a message that I would love to have a conversation with. But, you know, it works both ways, and I want to have those conversations, and I want to learn more, and I want to humble myself to find different parts of my community that we can help make sure are represented well in the things that we're doing. And this is a tricky thing. I mean, this is not no one on, I don't know. I am not happy about having to go through this process. I don't know anyone on the board who is happy about going through the process of a leadership change. I don't know anyone who feels that way, but I will say, you know, we are working hard to find advisors that can guide us through this process. And we're not in the stage in the process yet where we're going to be holding town hall meetings. Like, that's not where we're at in the process yet, because we're still setting the foundation and the timeline. I think that's really important. The last thing I wanted to say, you know, is that summer school is just going so great. And it's something that hasn't been talked about yet tonight, but, you know, all of the parents who called me or run into me at Mass or, you know, seen me at, you know, a local event have taken the time to say, oh my gosh, my kid loves summer school. And so I just really want to end tonight by saying thank you to the teachers and the staff and we have staff like, a lot of people leave at 12, but for those of you who don't know, summer school isn't ending at 12 for everybody. So we have like a second shift of people and, like office aides that stay there and coordinate with our after school program and the parents. And there are a lot of new moving parts and there's kinks to work out, but it's still something that people are so grateful for. So I am so grateful for you. We don't always do everything perfectly the first time at every school site every single day, but all of us are just doing the best we can. And for me, for my experience, I have not run into a kid yet that is not enjoying summer school. And that is a huge achievement, because getting kids out of bed to go to school in the summer, you wouldn't think would be something people are excited about, but they are, and every opportunity we can get to help make kids' lives better in this community is why we're sitting up here. So thank you so much for coming tonight and for all of your voices. We appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to item number 2, the superintendent's report. Mrs. Laura Orozco.
Good evening, oops, oh, that was loud. My voice is loud as it is. Good evening, President Fuentes, members of the Board of Education, colleagues, families, and members of our school community. As our board begins a process for searching for a new interim and superintendent, I step into this responsibility with humility, commitment, and a deep sense of duty to our staff, our students, and families. During this interim period, I do see this as a time, I don't see it as a time of pause. I see it more as a time of progress. I am committed to working in close partnership with the Board of Education to ensure stability, clarity, and continuity for the sake of our students and our staff. Our collaboration will be essential to upholding the values we hold dear and advancing priorities already in motion. I intend to maintain open lines of communication and listen intently. I look forward to working hand in hand with our board, our staff, our families, and community members as we navigate the next chapter for BCSD. Together, I believe we can not only sustain the momentum we've built, but also pave the way for new growth, innovation, and excellence known in BCSD. Thank you for your shared commitment to our students, and thank you for being here tonight.
Righty, moving on to item number 3, administrative hearing panel action. It is recommended that the administrative hearing panel's recommendations be approved.
This is Laura. I move that we approve it.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. All of those in favor? Oh, discussion. We good? All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Moving on to a 5-minute recess. Board will take a 5-minute recess.
No, okay, yeah, you make the motion.
Alrighty. I believe I'm gonna bring us back now. I know that was a little bit more than 5 minutes, but we've been out of sorts these days. Moving on to item, letter G, educational services. Number 1 is an assistant superintendent's report. Mrs. Laura Orozco.
Good evening. Tonight I have a few items, first starting with our approval of our LCAP federal addendum.
So we'll move on to item number 2.
I think I need an approval for that.
So we have an action item. So the approval of the LCAP federal addendum, that is item number 2 on our agenda here. It is recommended that the LCAP federal addendum be approved.
This is loud, I move that we approve it.
Thank you.
This is Chris, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sweet. Okay. In that case, we have our LCAP update for our local indicators.
Mrs. Brooks Streisig will present the local indicators.
Good evening, President.
Welcome.
And board members. So this is my annual review of our California Dashboard local indicators. So the local indicators are this is a way that we can share information that is not just the state test scores, but also some additional indicators that we have that give a little bit more well-rounded view of things around our district. And so this is an overview of those indicators that we have. So these are the priorities that we'll be looking at tonight. Priority 1, which is basic services and conditions. Priority 2, which is implementation of state standards. Priority 3, which is parent engagement. Priority 6, which is school climate. And priority 7, which is access to a broad course of study. And so as we go through these, what I do as we go through at the very end, there are 3 categories for each of these. Did we meet, did we not meet, or have we not met them for 2 or more years? So that's how we score ourselves in these areas. So under the implementation of academic standards, the way that we score ourselves on this is that we send out a survey that is given to us by the state, and this is provided to principals, vice principals, leadership team, MTSS team, academic coaches, even here at the district office and all school sites. And then this is the rating scale from a 1 to 5. And then they are able to give us some input. So they're rating the Bakersfield City School District in progress in professional learning for teachers to the recently adopted academic standards and or curriculum framework identified. So these areas. So they have 4s, 3s, and so for English language arts, 4, for the science standards, 3, English language development, 3, and math, a 4. In the area 2, which is the rating the Bakersfield City School District in progress towards making instructional materials that align to the recently adopted academic standards or curriculum framework. They scored us overall, we summarized these as English language arts a 4, English language development a 4, math a 4, and next generation science standards a 4. So overall, as you can see, we're in full implementation with just 2 areas in initial implementation. And then implementation in a couple of other areas that they look at that are just not the standards, like ELA, math, English language arts, math, science. We do look at a couple of areas of implementation policies and programs to help identify areas where we can improve in delivering instruction aligned to recently adopted academic standards, career technical education, health education, physical education, and visual and performing arts. And so career technical, that's very initial. And where I see that, that's the one that will stand out to you, that is the lowest. Where you see that, it's really in our junior highs. So when we're sending this out to all of our schools, where we're gonna really see this scored is really in our junior highs. And that's in our initial, because there is where we have trainer of trainers, where we are giving kids an exploration of career technical education. And we are doing some work with some grant funds in there. We're also sending them to C-Tech junior high camp over the summer, and we also have them go to the C-Tech field trip. We have 100 kids from each one of our junior highs go to that as well. So we're building that over the last couple of years. So again, it's because of the small population of just the 11 schools there. And then when we go to our next priority, which is parent engagement, here we're seeking the parent engagement. We really look at here, how we are looking at monitoring this is looking at a few of our committees and looking at how are the parents represented and how are they attending. So when we look at the DAC, 83% of our schools had representation because these are the district committees. How are they sending? So 83% of our schools had regular attendance. And then in our DAPAC, which is the African American Parent Advisory, 58% of our schools had parent representation throughout the year. In our English Learner Advisory Committee, 83.1% of our schools had parent representation. Each one of these went up a small amount throughout the year from when I compared them from this year to last year. So this is the Parent Climate Survey. So this is one, a few of you have been parents or are parents in our district, so you would have received this. Parents fill this out for their child's school. And so it asks questions such as these, you know, do you feel that your child's school has high expectations for them? So 90.3% of them agree or strongly agree with that statement. That they are invited to participate in decision making to improve their child's achievement, I'm sorry. 90.8% agree with that statement. That they provide regular opportunities for their for parents to participate. 92.4% agree with that statement. And then also overall that their experience with the Bakersfield City School District has been positive. So that is 90.7%. So this is priority 6, and this is the Hanover survey. And I did share this with you a little bit earlier, but this is our most recent one that we did. So this was spring of 2025. This is just the overall. These are the 4 areas that we look at. So school connectiveness, 72% feel connected to the school. Have a caring adult relationship at the school, 87%. They perceive school overall as safe, 74%. And they feel that their classroom is safe, 84%. So there's a little bit higher in their classroom. And then here's the breakdown because we like to see it broken down by grade spans. So we have 3rd, 4th grade, we have 5th, 6th, and then we have 7th, 8th. So feeling welcome at school, and it's these same ones. They have a caring adult, they feel safe in school, and we have safe in classrooms. And just as, I think I've reviewed this before, but I always like to bring this out. The reason that we pull apart, do they feel safe at school versus safe in the classroom? Because school could be, they kind of make that broad. Is safe at school walking to school sometimes? Is it the playground? So we like to kind of narrow that and have 2 separate questions so that we kind of figure out exactly where the students, and there is some areas where they can fill out as well. So we can see definitely kids are overwhelmingly feeling safer in their classrooms. And so overall there was growth as far as students feeling, have a positive experience at school. What we do continue to know that we do is having also feedback sessions with students, because a survey alone will not give us enough information. Right. So continuing to conduct feedback sessions with students is really how we get really the information that we need. So this is a survey, but we know that we need to continue to have those feedback sessions with students as well to really get exactly how we, at each school too, not just overall for a district, but school by school. So we continue to do that for improvement. And then broad course of study, this is usually a little bit more impactful in the high school district because that's where they offer a lot of courses. For us, it's a lot of in the junior highs in their elective courses, but we even have different things that we offer in the elementaries. So as you can see, visual and performing arts, we have dual immersion, we have project launch in the elementary schools, then we also have Project Lead the Way in our middle schools. And then we have also all of the elective courses that we have in our middle schools. And then we're also always surveying students in our middle schools for additional elective choices that they're interested in. And then the other part of the annual survey is I go through each one of these categories and mark it as long as we have met each one of the criteria, we have met it, which we have this year, met all of our criteria of answering and making sure we've answered all of these questions. I also need to report it to the board like I am tonight at the same board meeting that the LCAP is being presented. And then I also submit it to the state, which anybody can look up on the California Dashboard website. So you will be able to look into this in detail. Any questions?
No, you go ahead. You're good. Comment or suggestion.
Sure.
I visited several parent centers. And when parents ask about our LCAP book and stuff, some parent centers don't have one. We always redirect them back to online. We gotta be mindful that some of the parents prefer hard copy or paper, just like I prefer paper, but see if we can have,
Do you want the LCAP plan?
That book like that, or do you mean the survey that they take?
No, the survey too, because sometimes parent centers will do, but have this book at all parent centers.
Okay. I put that down for both.
And also the multilingual plan, since we're already here, Mr. Alfonso said we can do that.
Okay.
We talked about at a previous meeting, when you were talking about, I think it was a connectedness.
Yes.
A lot of times we'll get like our student leaders together and do like a focus group, and I just wanted to replant the seed again. I love the idea of meeting with maybe some of our lower performing students that have behavioral issues and get their input on what services like actually speak to them, or maybe like having our youth intervention specialist folks identify those specific kids that like maybe their perspectives would be different than our highest performing, like most involved students. I'm really excited to see that data.
Well, and actually, I mean, Tim can speak to it as well, but last time we did this, we actually did a complete random sample. And even when we gave it to the school sites, and it was completely random. So we had special education students. We had students that, maybe had a little more discipline, and it wasn't, the kids that were on ASB. It wasn't, it was a real mixture of students. So we got a true sample of what the student population was. So that
the surveys or the focus groups?
Of the focus groups.
That's awesome.
So that they were really able to share their experiences. So it was truly a random sample, and that's really what we need to really find out. And it needs to be at each school site, we have found, so that we can then focus in and help that school individually. Any other questions? Okay,
No.
thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. So that was our LCAP update. Moving on to item number 4. That's the approval of the Special Education Local Plan Area, SELPA, annual budget and annual service plan for the district's special education program as required by Education Code, Section 56205A, B, 1, and 2. It is recommended that SELPA be adopted.
This is Chris, so moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? Awesome. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on to item number 5, approval of the final LCFF budget overview for Parents and Local Control and Accountability Plan, LCAP, 2024-2027, LCAP and budget for 2025-2026. It is recommended it be approved. Laura, got it. Thank you.
Second.
There's no
Thank you.
doubt in that one.
Discussion?
I read it over and over.
Awesome. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to item number 6, the MOU between KCSOS and the Bakersfield City School District. It is recommended that this MOU be approved. Do I have a motion?
Can I motion to table this one?
I have a motion to table
I'll second that.
with a second. Any discussion?
Yes, the reason why I want to motion to table this one is just because when I went in and looked at the numbers, I know these are wonderful programs. These are all places my son's been for summer camp, and he had a phenomenal time. But when I was looking at the pricing, it was $60 for a student to go one place. And when I became a member for Buena Vista last year, it was $25 for the whole year for my son. And then when you get that membership, you get reciprocal memberships with all the other organizations, including like being able to go to La Brea Tar Pits. So I'm not saying I don't want to vote for this. It's been an interesting time for communication. Communication has not been happening over the past 2 weeks like it normally does. So I was hoping we could table that just so that we could have a little more time to look into why that additional cost is there. I did check too with Mr. Luque, and he did say that we're providing the transportation. So I'm just, again, trying to figure out why it's $60 per student. I'd feel more comfortable knowing a little more about that before we vote on that.
So to the public, it's 25?
So if you were to go to Buena Vista and join for the whole year for just one student, it's only $25, and then you can go to COM, you can go to the Museum of Art, you can go everywhere. But for one field trip for one student, it's $60. And I know that there was mention of there being like a guide that's included, but again, just like the price differential, I wanted to know a little bit more and hopefully get a little time to think about that one. But again, I know these are great programs. I know that we don't have a lot of other options for in-town field trips. I just want to know more.
Yeah, so that cost includes not just the Buena Vista Museum, it also includes all the materials that are used for the STEAM yard that students that are using the consumable items. So it's that also. So if they go to the STEAM yard, they flip-flop between the STEAM yard and the Buena Vista Museum. So there's that. And it also includes the cost of the staff that provides the lessons for the students. So it's a combination.
So it's not a separate $60 to go to Buena Vista and a separate $60 to go to the STEAM yard?
No, it's
to go to 2-in-1?
So that, yeah, they toggle between the two because they're right next door to each other. So
and in the STEAM yard, they create things. They have like the 3D printers. They have that thing. They can make shirts. I mean, I don't depend on what program they're in, but they make all kinds of stuff.
So the popular item this summer is a Labubu stuffed thing.
Yes,
whatever
makes sense.
Labubu is.
Yes, yes.
that's the hot item right now. So they learned how to sew. They're learning how to sew this summer. So all of those materials that are included in that.
My son actually came home from school saying that everything's Labubu and he's terrified of it. He was like, I even had to turn over this picture that was Labubu to draw my own picture.
It is quite terrifying.
But yeah, the 3D printer and all that, he had such an incredible time.
But the sewing kits and the programs, they're different than the sewing kits and the like STEM program, like kits that we're using in our after-school program?
Yes. Yeah, everything's different, yes.
How do you do that? How do you ensure there's not redundancy between the field trips and the supply spot by like Boys and Girls Club? That seems like a lot of coordination.
So with the materials that we purchase for the after-school program, it's a combination of going out to bid through the RFP process for some of our core materials, and then for things like our sewing units, they're all developed in-house. So our extended learning team, they develop them. So we don't necessarily go out and buy kits. We write the lessons. So they're all unique.
That's how you get the $60.
Oh, I was talking about our after-school program. But yeah.
Any other questions,
And
discussion?
so we're already doing these field trips. This is specifically for doing these field trips.
These are specific to after school. So since ELOP was approved at the last board meeting, we're able to broaden the use of those funds. So because we were able to go to get TKK into all of our elementary schools, now we can use those funds for our junior high school students. So this includes taking our junior high school students to the STEAM yard, and they have a separate section that focuses on career and college readiness for our junior high school kids. Which is really cool. So they get to learn how to be like beauticians or a variety of different things. And then for our elementary students after school, they would participate in CALM, the STEAM yard, and the Buena Vista Museum.
This is for the full year for 25, 26.
Right, and they're literally there every single day. There's a school at one of these places.
There's somewhere every
day.
week, yeah.
But this isn't like, and I already asked this question to Mr. Luque, so this is our own thing that, because it's hard during the day to do field trips, but we have buses free after school. So the district is facilitating this because we actually have buses, which is the major barrier for field trips. But it's not a Boys and Girls Club thing, it's a separate thing that we're doing.
Correct.
So we're pulling them out of Boys and Girls Club on the days that we can get these trips in shifts, because they can only take so many kids.
Right.
I just want to make sure I understand
That's
correctly.
no, you're
'cause it's
exactly
kinda
right.
confusing.
That's exactly right.
And then my other question was, you know, like, I understand this doesn't come out of the general fund, it comes out of ELOP, but this is like a big contract for KCSOS. Are we still gonna do some of the smaller, like ELOP, like field trips with community-based organizations?
We can work on other field trips too.
Yeah.
So like we're planning some with the Panorama Vista Preserve. We're planning them with Hart Park. So we're just talking about that today.
Like they do.
Those
like,
are in the works.
You guys go to like, I don't know if am I crazy? Can they do like go to musical performances like?
We
for
have
the high
that
schools
with
and stuff
Mr.
like
Stone.
that too? That's what I was like. I don't know if they're different funds or different things, but I think this is such a smart idea of using this time when we have buses to go. Like I had never thought of that.
The only challenge is we have a little window of time because they have to go home.
Sure.
So getting them, back to the school site so parents can get them picked up. So.
But that's going okay with summer school, yeah?
Oh,
Like,
they
getting
love
them round
it.
trip?
Yeah, it's going really well.
I have one more question too. So for the $60 per student, would they go to all of the different facilities with that $60? So like would a student go to COM and Buena Vista and the STEAM yard? Or would it be, how does that work? Like,
So, just for example, so for the elementary schools, that we're going to devote 1 week to each school for that site. So that $60 would go to, for those students that decide that want to attend that field trip, that $60 per that child would attend for that week. And then when it came around again, so if they go to like the Buena Vista Museum and the STEAM yard in the fall, in the spring they could go to CALM. So that $60 for the Buena Vista Museum and the STEAM yard is not the same $60 for the CALM.
okay.
So it's different materials and different staff that work that from KCSOS.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense, and I'm okay to approve now.
And who do you work with at KCSOS to coordinate all these pieces?
So they have an ELOP coordinator through them, so we work together and plan it. And our transportation department. So.
Thank you for the clarification.
That's crazy.
There's a lot of buses after school that run for us.
I've got to follow up to something that CCB mentioned about exactly when this happens. If we decide to table this and it doesn't come up until our early August meeting, are we stopping or delaying services?
So on the contract, we planned for it to begin September 2nd.
Okay, so we'll still be able to do this if we vote on it in August?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the first session was September 2nd. But you need time for planning, right?
It would be helpful for them, yes,
Yeah.
and for our transportation department.
Do you feel different now?
I do, yeah. I've had to change heart so I can vote against my own motion.
Okay, so.
So in order to vote for this to pass, we should vote it down.
Yeah, first we have to vote no.
Because we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
So all of those in favor?
To
table.
All of those in favor to table? All those opposed?
Aye.
So
This is
that
Chris.
motion fails. We need another.
I move to approve the MOU between KCSOS and Bakersfield City School District.
I second.
Thank you, thank you. Any discussion? Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Awesome. Moving on to item number 7, approval of agreements for various food truck services. It is recommended the agreements for various food truck services be approved, but
He was raising.
I need
Go ahead.
to abstain, and I'm supposed to leave the room if there's discussion.
Yes.
okay,
Well, this is Chris. I move to approve the agreement with various food truck services.
approved.
A second.
And second, do we have any discussion?
This is for this summer, right?
This
This
is
is-
for.
It's for a summer
it's a
institute
summer
for
institute
teachers.
For the teachers.
Any
I
other
think
dis-
everybody's just wondering why he had to leave. There's a vendor on here that's relative to Mr. Eggert, so that's why he had to abstain from voting and he can't be part of the discussion.
Just a little
So
technical
just for
thing.
clarity for everybody.
Any other discussion?
No.
Cool. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to letter H, Business Services, Assistant Superintendent Report, Mrs. Sherry Gladden.
All right, good evening. I have no formal report this meeting. We, at the June 10th, had a presentation on our budget priorities and our projections for our proposed budget. After adopting the LCAP earlier tonight and having held our public hearing on June 10th, the board is now able to vote on approval of the district's proposed budget. Along with that comes an approval of our education protection account, resolution and allocation plan. That is a portion of the revenue that comes through in our LCFF funding formula. And so both of those items are attached for your approval tonight, and if there are any questions, I'm happy to field them.
All righty. So moving on to item number 2, adoption of the 2025-2026 Education Protection Account Resolution and Allocation Plan. It is recommended that plan be approved.
This is loud, I move that we approve it.
This is Chris, I second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion on this item?
So does this mean that, like, never mind. I mean, do we have to,
So,
we have to set aside money so we can do like EPA reports of our
you know,
buildings?
it's just a portion of our LCFF funding. So part of our funding comes from local taxes, part of it comes from state funding. That state funding is further split up from a tax that was passed by voters previously that was dedicated to education, and that's this portion. This just over $50 million of the LCFF comes from that tax item that was approved by voters in the past. And so this resolution just says how we're spending the dollars, which the constraints are really that it not be on admin salaries. And so how the district uses these EPA funds specifically is on teacher salaries and benefits.
So it's just like general fund money, but we have to save.
You know, it's just another one of those like plan-again things that they give you.
It's bureaucracy. They like
Bureaucracy.
All righty. I think we're good to vote. All of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to item number 3, adoption of the 2025-2026 budget and 2024-2025 estimated actuals. It is recommended that the proposed budget be adopted as submitted.
This is loud, I move that we approve it.
A second.
Thank you. Thank you. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to letter I, Human Resources. Assistant Superintendent Report, Mrs. Christine Cornejo.
Thank you, President Fuentes. This evening I have just our basic HR reports for the board's consideration and approval.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2, approval of the certificated Human Resources Report. It is recommended report be approved as submitted.
This is loud, I move that we approve it.
Thank you.
This is Chris, I second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to item number 3, approval of the classified Human Resources Report. It is recommended that that report be approved as submitted.
So moved.
This is loud, I second.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to letter J, board policies. Number 1, revision to the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District, section 300.12, access to district records. This is a first reading, only up for discussion if there is any. Seeing none, moving on to item number 2, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District, section 300.12, access to district records as administrative regulations, first reading. Discussion item only. Okay, moving on to item number 3, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District, section 400.38, complaints concerning instructional materials. This is a first reading, up for discussion only.
I really like this one. The way it refers to complaints being based in ed code and the law, so there's less ambiguity. I think really gives people a blueprint to empower them specifically. How do I complain and where should I be looking to know that I'm following the right framework? I think that really fills a gap that we didn't have before. It's very well done.
Anything else? Cool. Moving on to item number 4, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District, section 400.38, complaints concerning instructional materials, administrative regulation, first reading. only up for discussion. Cool. Moving on to item number 5, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District Section 601.02, bullying, first reading. Discussion on this item. Seeing none, moving on to item number 6, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District Section 601.02, bullying, administrative regulation, first reading. Discussion on this item. None. Moving on to item number 7, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District Section 606.14, response to immigration enforcement. This is a first reading. Any discussion on this one? Seeing none. Moving on to item number 6, revision of the board policies and procedures of the Bakersfield City School District Section 606.14, response to immigration enforcement administrative regulation, first reading. Discussion? None. Cool. Moving on to the consent agenda, that is letter K. Number 1 is the approval of consent agenda. It is recommended to be approved as submitted.
Okay, this is Laura. I move that we approve the consent agenda, but we will pull number 37 to table it and number 40 for a separate vote.
Second. So is the motion to approve the consent agenda
As is.
table 37?
Table 37 for a future board meeting and discussion, and number 40 for a separate vote.
And we have a second, so we will need to discuss this.
Okay. You want to go ahead?
For 37 first?
Do they have to be separate motions? Can it be one motion to table and approve the same motion? Awesome.
Okay. I would like to listen to the public comment today and then gather more information on the structure of the RFP. I would just like to learn more and maybe talk to some of those individuals that came here tonight and then look into the Boys and Girls Club as well. So I just need a little more time personally to evaluate the RFP process.
And you're talking about item number 37?
37.
Yeah.
37.
So I just want to say that's why I also support tabling it.
And the reason why I'm tabling it, sometimes it's worth paying the little bit of extra when it's coming from experts. I think you can't, quality versus quantity. And if we have not had any issues with the previous, I understand the RFP, you go to the lowest bidder. I understand that. But when you look at the RFP and you're looking at the numbers, even 20%, like to me, that's something big on the difference. I mean, nobody understands the RFP, like reach out to us and we'll explain it to you. But to me, that's a red flag. Art, during public comment, they said art can be like a coping mechanism, and I'm a big supporter of art. Just because during my high school days and when I was in school, that was my escape, that was my getaway. When you come from a broken family and you're asking your parents for help, which is mental health, and they tell you, estás loca, nomás los locos van, only crazy people go see a therapist, that's what you grow up with. But when you go to school and you're telling your teacher what's going on, which is Mr. Deckard, he taught me how to deal and how to cope with what I had going on, and that was through art. And in my house, I've shared it before, I have this huge lion that I did one day when I showed up at school, and I just stayed in this class all day. And it's a constant reminder that there's an outlet out there, and there shouldn't be a price on a kid's mental health. And we should continue personally with whoever's been doing a good job with this for our students, so.
I do feel like there was an issue with a change of pricing though. I remember that coming up in the board agenda review, so I think
Right.
it would just be helpful if we could all dive a little deeper into what's happening there.
Right.
Mike?
No, I just think that we need to look at, we have so many different vendors, and like we have Pinpoint Dance Academy doing pottery.
You know, and I think this is, you know, what other districts does the Boys and Girls Club do this art program to find out, you know, how successful it is? Because a lot of times it, you know, it's dollars generated. You know, it's like, okay, hey, we can do that, instead of looking at the quality of it, where it benefits the kid, the students.
I think changes in leadership are really hard. I think all of us can acknowledge that. And, you know, the new director of the program who spoke to us today, I think she said she's been doing the job. Ms. Magali said, I think, like 2 weeks. It's a hard job, and it's a hard job to take on in 2 weeks. And I think there's this weird, I don't know if there's like a loyalty to the former director, or the director knows more about our RFP process, or like, I don't know what went down there. I don't have those answers in front of me, but I do know, you know, for 9 years, Bakersfield Museum of Art has done a great job. We haven't heard anything bad about that program. So I'm hesitant to switch services. And the other reason I'm just like, what Mr. Eger was saying, I'm a little bit reluctant about is, like, Boys and Girls Club is doing a really good job with our after-school program, and they have a very vibrant art, like, program through that. I don't know if there's any redundancy in services between what they did for that RFP and this RFP, or from like the samples that we looked at, and maybe we wouldn't know until we let them implement that. But you know, they have how much, like $115 million like contract to do stuff with us, and it seems really small that we'd say, oh, here's, you know, 200,000 we just would like to do with this one community-based organization. It feels like that to me. You know, we're looking at this behemoth organization and this small, you know, little organization that is the only one of its kind doing something. And I want to partner with those kind of groups as much as we can. It's the same question, you know, that I asked earlier about, I think it's great that KCSOS has this amazing field trip program. Are we still gonna do smaller scale things with other community-based organizations? How do we keep those partnerships strong, so that, because they're important to community building for not just the kids, but also their families. I think it's a worthwhile conversation worth having, and is why I'm on the table.
So before we get too much further with discussion, because we haven't even talked about item number 40, I am realizing that item number 38 is also part of this process.
Oh, no.
So should have been pulled, so we should probably reword that motion by voting this motion down. And
But no, but if we table one, then the other one becomes new.
It becomes part of it.
Yeah.
Is that how
You have to call both of them out, because it's two different items. It's the RFP to approve,
Right.
and then the contract is the second. It's right after.
So we don't
So it's
want to
item
award
37 and item 38.
You don't want to award them without a contract.
So we'll vote it down.
You have to pull both.
And then we'll bring it
Yeah,
back up.
yeah.
Okay.
So
You can table both.
a technical thing, we can continue with discussion about 40 right now, that way we can get it out of the way, and then redo it all.
Okay.
If that is what the board wants. So, discussion on the 40.
This one, I did have some individuals reach out about concern about the amount of it, which $3 million is a lot of money for 3 years. Again, right now, I'm in the mode to kind of shy away from long-term contracts. But with this too, something that I did find interesting was there was $63,000 per year included for travel costs alone, which seemed excessive to me. So the feedback that I heard, and I'm sure there's other feedback out there, was that it did not warrant $3 million, which I did ask, like, where the funding source came from. I realized that it's only for a specific purpose, but I also think we need to be really thoughtful about the money that we use, no matter where the funding source comes from. So that's why I wanted to pull this one for a separate vote, just because, again, the $63,000 for travel per year, that's a lot of money.
Let me see where you're looking at. You're looking at, and that's the first year, right? Travel costs.
Yeah, it has a breakdown of everything.
63,000.
And then the third and fourth are bundled together. Could anyone maybe speak to the travel costs of why it's $63,000?
Well, when you look at years 3 and 4, it's 129,800.
Right.
I think initially, so we had sent out a survey to schools and to see, who would be interested in thinking maps, or cognitive mapping, but it's thinking maps. And we have about 27 schools that are doing currently thinking maps, and a lot of times they've asked to send teachers, a group of teachers, to different conferences.
Oh,
And
okay.
so we can do that. We've always done it for many years, but we've also, if we have people that come out and train, sometimes it'll be, for example, one trainer and there'll be like 2 schools and they get together in the summer, or they'll be during the year. It's just one of the strategies that a lot of our schools use, that they want to continue to use, and but it's to the pleasure of the board how they want to. And this is how, if schools want to do this, they can do it if they meet with their leadership team or their SIPSA. It's up to the schools to use thinking maps. It really is to the discretion of the school sites. But again, it's to the pleasure of the board.
Yeah. You know, even though the budget source is Title I
It's
and
Title
LCAP,
I.
it's still, I don't know.
Yeah, when I see these
Proud.
big numbers too, and I think about the fact that we're constantly being asked to assess like possible cuts elsewhere, it just makes me very sensitive to, no matter where the funding is coming from, committing to a 3-year contract right now in the middle of transition.
Mike?
We had a couple, on the consent agenda a few months ago, where different sites were doing the same. I mean, it's like we need to, I think, do a lot more pairing and say, I mean, I said, it's Title I, yes, but if there's a way to have multiple sites going through the same training, I think, and it was like 2 different school sites that were doing the same training, and that's why I thought, oh, it's
Yeah, and I think and that's exactly why we had to do an RFP, because we had, this is a very popular training by teachers, by principals, by staff. And one of the things we started coming up, we have the thresholds when we spend money in federal, 50,000, 114,800 for state. So what's started happening is we had so many schools requesting this training that we can't do it because it exceeds the threshold amount that we're allowed under Title I, and that's what the funds they were using. So then we had to go to the RFP, or else we're out of compliance. And so that's why, exactly to your point, that's actually why we're doing this. And we were trying to get ahead of it so we don't get into that issue in terms of compliance issues with the threshold of state or federal money.
And just because we approve it as an RFP contract, doesn't make it compulsory for any school site.
Correct.
It just makes it possible for
Correct.
any school site. That's at least a Title I school
Correct.
site.
Well, I don't think we should shut down the idea. I think we should just have it there, and then as it comes before us, or they decide they're gonna go, then.
I have not heard positive, the emails that I received were more leaning towards it being wasteful spending.
Okay.
Is it something they use more at the elementary level, the middle school level, or is
Sorry?
Is it something used more at the elementary level or the middle school level?
The
or?
thinking maps?
Yeah.
I think they're used everywhere. It just depends on the schools. There's one school, for example, Voorhees, they use Be Glad, which is another cognitive a strategy, but the thinking maps are used widely in different schools. Some schools are school-wide, some schools are by grade level, they use it more. So it just depends on each school, what the cognitive mapping they'd like to use. It is research-based. It is one of the highest ranking in terms of strategies for kids to think about writing or reading, to be able to use cognitive mapping, especially with their writing.
Are the conferences like in Los Angeles, San Francisco?
You know what? It varies. I know that we're trying to also go to the method of trainer of trainers at some point, so that we have somebody at the school site that's actually the trainer of trainers. But I'm a trainer of trainers, and I went to Pasadena, which was, we'd go and come back, it was pretty close. But there's some, it just depends. I mean, I can't speak. I don't know what it is right now, but there's different places in California.
Okay, but you do recommend it?
I do.
You've got a good experience with it?
I think so. I think it's not so much for, if I was I used it when I was a principal. I think it's for me as a choice for teachers that like to use it, or for the principals, or more of a choice for schools. I see that more like that. But again, it's, I don't know, up to you guys.
Can I talk about about one more item before we go to vote, or should I wait until after?
No, you can talk about
Yeah,
it.
let's go for it.
Okay, for 39 also, I just wanted to comment on this one more time. I know at the last meeting I re-clarified, the previous board meeting, there was a statement about some board members being against sex ed, which just wanted to reaffirm was not the case. The reason why this was tabled and brought to this meeting was because there was only one bid. I did go out and I did meet with the United Way. I am confident they're gonna do a great job. Moving forward, I really would like to stay away from 5-year contracts and committing money long-term. Again, I have no doubt that the United Way is gonna do a wonderful job. They showed me their curriculum, they went through everything with me, and again, it wasn't about the issue of not supporting the cause. It's a law. As a board, we have to follow that. I just wanted to clarify once more that it was about having one bid, and unfortunately, there wasn't another bidder, even though we put it back out there, so I am leaning towards supporting it now.
And even if it wasn't law, you'd still support offering our kids.
Absolutely, yes. I just wanted to clarify again because that was brought forward before, but yeah, I'm confident they're gonna do a good job. I do also think maybe in the future we can look into the possibility of teachers teaching it, because I asked around to different school districts and that's how pretty much everybody else in Kern County does it. So just maybe a conversation, even though we're likely going to commit to implementing this, just looking into alternative options, especially because there wasn't any competition in the bidding process.
So, we're gonna do a little complicated thing. I would,
We're here for it.
I think we can get somebody to amend the motion. Somebody would have to second that amendment.
Okay.
And it would look like what you see on the big screen up there.
She's got it, I can tell.
I know, I'm thinking.
Motion to amend.
A motion to amend.
The current motion.
The current motion. It is recommended that the consent agenda be approved as submitted with item 40 pulled for a separate vote and item 37 and 38 tabled for further discussion and vote.
Now we need a second for her.
This is Chris, oh, go ahead, Rick.
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. So now we have an amended motion on the table with a second that we can vote on. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. We good?
Yeah, we need to
Cool.
go to 40.
40.
Yes, 40 as a separate vote. So, it is recommended that the BCSD, Professional Development Services for Content Mapping Strategies, RFP number 2505-02 to Thinking Maps be approved through June 30th, 2028. I think I'll do a roll call vote on this one. We'll just go in order. Oh, yes, we need a motion to approve. My bad. Getting ahead of myself. Do I have a motion to approve item number 40?
This is Chris, so moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Any discussion? Item number 40. I believe we've had it all right. Cool. Let's vote. And we'll do, again, roll call. Mike?
Yes.
CCB?
Yes.
Brooke Melial?
I'm gonna abstain.
Thank you. Laura?
Yes.
I will also be abstaining. And that's it for our consent agenda. That means we can move on to item, or letter L, closing items. It is recommended that the meeting be adjourned.
This is Laura, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Before sunset.
Great job, sir.